She'd stay in distress.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is,
crazy.
men don't actually respect distress, but it is what we're expected to do, so we play that role. And
They should both grow at the same time, huh?
well, they should grow, and then they should get together. They're growing at the same time. That's for weeds and flowers. You know, if you have to grow with each other, you're gonna grow on each other. You're supposed to grow and then get with somebody. We're not flowers. We're not trees.
Don't you constantly grow, though?
Well, see, that's the thing about it.
That's what I'm saying.
Growth is, as one of my mentors said, you know, when you stop growing, you're dead.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
there should be a certain level of growth that happens before you get with a person. So what happens, use a tree. If two trees were getting together, we're talking about human beings, you should be a full-grown tree, and then you could be growing leaves. But it shouldn't be a full-grown tree with a little fledgling here trying to figure out how to be a tree. You know, because at one point, as another my mentor said, he said, imagine it's a cake. My cake is made, your cake is not. So until your cake is made, we eating off my cake. So by the time my cake is done, my cake is empty. Now your cake is full. Now you don't want me because I don't have any cake. You know what I'm saying? Because we've eaten up all of mine. And now you got this cake, like, I got a cake. This man over here ain't got no cake. It's like, because I fed you mine when you didn't have anything to eat. So there has to be a level of equity in the relationship. If not in spirituality and understanding, at least in knowledge of where we're at and what we're doing. So there has to be that growth. And then there's a growing together. So me and my wife were full grown as individuals. And now we are growing as a couple. And now we're going to be full grown as a couple. But being full grown as an individual and a couple are two different things. So if you get an unhappy person and a happy person, you're going to have an unhappy, happy person. You're not going to have two happy people. You see what I'm saying? So if you got a full grown and a half grown, then you're going to have one and a half. And it's not going to come together to make that 100.
I have a,
200.
you know, something about that with the half, the not so grown and the grown, because I like honesty and I like truth. Tell me the truth. The thing is, I could pick up right away that somebody is having issues. You know, Hazel, you mentioned the nonverbals. I'm very good at picking up nonverbals, but I don't like to have to pick them up. Tell me, if I'm an adult, you're an adult, tell me what's going on.
But see, that's the difference between men and women. When I went to, I had a one-man play. I went to Rikers Island, and I was doing it. And after I did it, we opened it up for questions. Now, the girl who brought me there was a good friend. She was like, well, he came here and, you know, he was doing this for you, and the least you could do was indulge him in conversation and stuff. And I said, hold up, hold. Hey, these aren't children. And I looked at him, I said, listen, by your body language, I know that you're not interested in this conversation. And you're men, so you choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here. And if you want to have conversation, there's a 5-minute window where we can start talking. If not, it is your choice whether you want to talk to me or not. Me showing up is not a demand. It's an offering. So if you don't want to accept my offering, I can bounce. No harm, no foul. Nothing personal. I don't know you. You don't know me. There's nothing personal in this. So I sat down, and then we had a conversation. But while she was telling them what they ought to do, they were looking like, are you kidding me? Can't you tell by my demeanor that I'm not interested in this conversation, and you're going to bring me into it anyway? And that's what men get upset with women for about so many times, is because, yes, there is something to communication and saying it. But there is a time where words are not appropriate, and sometimes you just need to be. And you need to be able to look at that person and know them well enough to say, you know what? This ain't the time. And we all know that with our parents.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, it was a time when your parent would look at you and you'd be like, I'm out. Didn't have to say anything, didn't have to say hard day, nothing. Just, I'm gone. But when we get grown, all of a sudden we think that goes out of the window. Well, you didn't say you were upset. So the fact I came in, threw my stuff across the floor, kicked the cat, and punched the wall, you had to ask me, baby, are you mad? It's like, come on. It's like, give me a break. I'm upset. Be like, baby, I know you're upset. Sit down for 10 minutes. I'll be back to you when you're cool.
You know what? I have to work on that, because I still want you to tell me, you know what? I want you to tell me that. That's part of the dialogue that we're supposed to have as adults.
I want it selfish. I want us to talk, is what should be said. I want us to communicate. I want us to get along. I want us to heal. I want to talk. That's a one-sided argument. Because you want to talk. What you want to talk about? You want me to start
Let's have a
screaming pain and
conversation.
stuff? Pain, agony, hurt. Is that what you want to talk? No, baby. I want to be one with you. This ain't the time to be one with me. This is the time you rub my back, give me something to drink, and say everything is going to be all right.
Okay. All right, I take your point. Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Comments?
Say what you feel.
I'll ask a question. Since the divorce rate in the United States is so high, do you believe that institution is still sacred or has meaning?
I would never judge art by a bad artist. I wouldn't go in a room full of people who sucked at painting and say, "Well, painting is down the drain." You can never judge anything by the weakest among them and say that's the state of it. You always have to look at the strongest, because the strongest are those who know the most about it and who can utilize it. And so from what I see, marriage is flourishing. People are failing. And the truth of the matter is relationships don't fail. People fail at relationships. Relationship is like painting. It's an entity. And no matter what you say, the better you work, the more you work at it, the better you get. I haven't known anybody, even if you sucked at drawing, if you did it every day for 10 years, even though you might not be Picasso, you'd be much better than you were before. So I don't know anybody who does not have a learning curve where they get better the more they do something. So relationships don't fail. People fail at relationships. And then they say it's a relationship, but it's no different from the painter saying, you know what, this canvas sucks. I went to paint on it and it just moved and turned and I couldn't get anything. I need a new canvas. I'd be a great painter. And that's what we do. It's like, oh, this relationship sucks. If I was with somebody else, I'd be different. It's like, you can't paint now. You won't be able to paint later. Practice.
We're going to go to something Anthony said in the previous interview that I did with him. Notwithstanding all of the food analogies that you've used, but culture also factors in. How do you see that? How do you put that in the food metaphor?
Oh, that goes to food. It's like your family traditional recipes. And you're making spaghetti and the recipe says you put this, that, and the other. And then you're like, well, I want to put this in there. That's not how we do it. We do it this way. And then they pass down these recipes to the letter. And you find people have been cooking with the same amounts and same recipes for the last 80 years, where I might like garlic and I want more garlic in there, but I don't want to feel like that I've like bastardized some kind of tradition by throwing garlic in there. So you make it that way. And that's what we do. We look at our lives like recipes that have been passed down through the centuries, and we don't want to, dishonor anybody by changing anything. So my mother got married when she was 25. I'm gonna get married when I'm 25. If she was ready, I was ready. No, you're not. You're two different people. You might want garlic in your life.
That was my thing. See, I'm from the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean, particularly in St. Kitts, you don't date like people date in the United States. You have a boyfriend, okay? So there's no possibility of you having this person and then that one over there. Well, we just go to dinner. That doesn't happen. And that's like the example you just gave. If the culture didn't impact me, I probably would have said, well, I like him, but we work good together, but, maybe I should be also going up with this other person. Culturally, that wasn't acceptable. So I felt stuck.
Yeah, and that's the way it happens. It gets passed down to us. And like you said, and for some reason, we feel obligated to it. And we act on it. So, and that's what we get stuck in. But it's all smoke and mirrors. it's all smoke and mirrors.
Oh my goodness, this is interesting. We're here talking about Prince Charming and what's happened to him, how his role's been corrupted. So thank you again, Anthony. Go ahead. Terry had a question on the last segment.
Okay, my question was, I have to take my glasses off. In this economy, given the rates of high unemployment and everybody, having to pull back, most people have, whatever you're doing, you're kind of lean. What happens, what is it men want or looking for in a relationship when they're looking for a woman?
And I'll put it, I'm going to add an addendum to it.
And then I have another question.
I think what we're saying is not only in the erotic sense of it, but in the social sense of it.
Right.
So, and I think that's more we're dealing with. One, men want to be understood. Because most men, especially those who are dual degreed, understand that even with a degree, you still cannot go out and proportionally make the amount of money you could when there was a bunch of factory jobs and there was nobody to work them. So you could go there, have one income, and take care of somebody. So the days of like my father going to get a job at Cleveland Twist and Drill and being able to come home and bring home a whole lot of the bacon is done. So we need to be taken out of that economic perspective.